This is WCM's Park Update, a weekly show covering the outdoor hospitality industry, hosted by Ben Quiggle and Mike Gast. During each episode, you'll hear from special guests and campground experts on topics that will help your park flourish. WCM's Park Update is a production of Woodall's Campground Magazine.
Hi, I'm Ben Quiggle, editor of Woodall's Campground Magazine, and welcome to another edition of WCM's Park Update. Of course, my esteemed co-host, Mike Gast, is here, former Vice President of Communications at Campgrounds of America.
Hi, everybody.
And he runs his own marketing group. I'm Mola.
Emiola.
Emiola.
It's Hawaiian for live your best life, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay, well, that's great. Yeah. And our guest today is Lloyd Lauland, president of RVC Outdoor Destinations. And nice to have you back on the show, Lloyd. It's been a little while.
Well, thank you, Ben. Good to see you, Mike.
Good to see you again.
Yeah. So we wanted to bring Lloyd on, talk a little bit about RVC, the types of things you guys have been working on, what you're seeing out there in the industry. I know, Lloyd, you travel quite a bit. I guess for some of the newer people in the audience, can you just explain a little bit about RVC Outdoor Destinations, how many resorts you guys own, kind of how you guys got started, different things like that?
Yes, absolutely. So RVC Outdoor Destinations, we currently have 10 locations across the United States, all the way out from Yosemite down into Florida and all the way up to Pennsylvania. We do have one project under construction right now. We broke ground late January in Sandusky, Ohio.
Yeah.
And we are anticipating that opening being in the spring of next year. It's going to be, we're building in two phases. First phase is 175 sites. Great location right across from the Kalahari Resort in Sandusky and very close to Cedar Point. So we're very excited about moving into that market.
What was that land being used for, Lloyd? What was the previous use of that land?
It was an agricultural piece of property.
Okay. Did you have any permitting troubles?
No,
I'm guessing they're pretty friendly up there.
Things went quite smoothly. No permitting issues because we really didn't have any neighbors that might have raised any objections. And it was already zoned for a hospitality purpose. So we actually purchased the property from the Kalahari Resort.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they know tourists up in that region, so I'm pretty sure they're receptive.
Yeah, and we like the market. We believe that it was very underserved. So building a world-class resort in that area, we're looking for a good response from that, from our customers.
Yeah, and I guess people that aren't familiar with the Sandusky area, I mean, it's pretty close to Lake Erie. You're got some great entertainment venues. I mean, Kalahari's like what you mentioned, Cedar Point, which is an excellent roller coaster park for roller coaster fans, and
yes, and huge fishing. And, outdoor recreation, lake type activities. But RVC, getting back to one of your original questions, Ben, RVC was born out of a desire to get into this space. And, we've been doing this now for 15 plus years. And we started with our first resort in Pine Mountain, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta near Callaway Gardens. It was actually, Mike, you might remember, it was a former KOA.
Mm-hmm. A lot of those.
And a lot of those. And we completely transformed the property into a really fantastic resort. Most recently, we spent another $1 million improving the infrastructure, and we added 4 glamping tents that we imported from South Africa. So they're very, very cool and have been very well received. And now after 15 years, we've kind of kind of grown organically. At least one resort every year. We've sold a few over the course of those years, but now we're mostly into developing rather than acquiring and repositioning. We find that even though it's difficult to do, it's not easy, as Mike mentioned, permitting and making sure that things get done. We find that as our customers, as we listen to our customers, building a resort from the ground up and making sure that you have nice level concrete sites and everything is working correctly and you connect to city sewer when you can. All of those things are very much appreciated by our customers. So when we're building new resorts, it's very easy, and we're building sites large enough that can handle any type of rig that's out there. And that's important in today's world also, because there's so many different choices of RVs out there on the market. So we do have some older resorts. One at Garden of the Gods is as old as I am, 61 years old. And, it was built at a time when most camping gear was real small, pull behind travel trailers, etc. So we've got some smaller sites there that we just have to kind of play around and put pieces of the puzzle together.
Yes, slide outs were something you did in the morning when you got out of bed.
That's right, exactly.
So you've been around for since 2006, at least the company has been. And one thing I think that sets you apart a little bit is we see a lot of startup companies that are a lot younger than you folks are, and they tend to kind of grow geographically. They start someplace, then they go out, in almost a concentric ring. But you guys are really all over the country. What are the operational challenges to that?
Well, as always, you've got resorts that are spread out, so it requires a lot of attention. Sometimes, you're on the road quite a bit. So, that's my job, is to make sure that I'm out visiting the resorts and things are going well. Obviously, when COVID hit, we had to utilize technology like this in order to make things happen and to get together. So we still continue to do that. I'm with my background, I came from the hotel industry and oversaw 17 properties. So, overseeing 10 is almost not as bad as doing 17 hotels. So, I'm used to it, but there are challenges. We decided strategically a few years ago that we were also going to start developing mainly in our backyard, and really creating a network of resorts that our guests could enjoy. So, we see that there's some benefits to Sandusky because we have a Pennsylvania resort. So we want to create a company now that has a lot of options for people in the areas that we're drawing from. So most recently we opened up in Gulf Shores, Alabama. That's our newest one. And that's complementing our resort in Florida, our resort in Georgia, and our resort in Texas, actually. So all of them are kind of working together because we're, marketing that way and marketing to our customers and giving them new options.
So where are you finding the managers for these? Are you growing your own, or are you?
Yeah, we're recruiting from within mostly. It is. I did hire from outside in the past, but it's easier to create the culture of the organization by growing from within. So most of our larger properties will always have an assistant general manager in place that is getting groomed to take on another opportunity.
Yeah.
So RVC's been around long enough that you've experienced that marked change in clientele that was driven by the pandemic, really. What has that done to your parks, that you've got probably less experienced campers coming in now?
Most of our general managers, I'm very fortunate that during COVID we didn't lose anyone. We kept everybody in place. And most of our general managers are seasoned, and most of our team are seasoned to deal with any type of camper. I even spent 3 months at one of our resorts during the COVID period in 2022 or 2021 when it first hit. And it was really, really interesting because we had so many new campers coming in to visit us, people that were renting RVs for the first time because their international trips had been canceled, people from all different demographics. I recall dealing with, in particular, at our Catherine's Landing location. I was on site, and we had an Indian family from Houston, Texas, that had rented an RV, and they came for a vacation because their trip overseas was canceled. And we had to help them hook everything up because they were unfamiliar with it. The people that they rented the vehicle from, the RV from, did not really give them a good tutorial. So, we had to help them with everything, including starting a fire. So it was fun. But, so we've prepared ourselves for that. Anytime somebody needs help, we're in the hospitality business first, and we let everybody that's on our team know that. So when it comes to hospitality, it's do whatever you can to assist the customer.
Yeah, definitely. I guess, what have been some of the challenges here recently that you guys have had to face as a company? I know you're developing different locations. What are some of the things that, have challenged you guys here recently?
Well, I think one of the things that I'm seeing, I don't know if it's a challenge. We can call it a challenge, is predicting really what the future is, right? So in this post-COVID world, the way that our customers were thinking in a pre-COVID world, they were booking much further in advance. We were able to really project how our business was going to be. COVID hit, and that changed everything because people didn't know what was going to happen. So the booking window shortened quite a bit. And now even I was hoping that as we got through 2022 and going into 2023, which is truly I was hoping that after COVID, people were going to get back to the way that they planned their trips in the past, but that's not true. Everybody is still waiting until the last minute, looking at all aspects of it, whether it's a health issue or whether it's weather, which has always been one of the biggest factors. People are waiting till the last minute to book. And I'm not sure if any of the other guests that you've had on your show have witnessed the same thing, but I look at the numbers every day, and that's what I'm seeing.
So does that force you to change your reservation procedures at all?
Well, it's forced us to. Well, no, I won't say forced us. We're looking at other ways to kind of incentivize people to book further in advance. One of the most recent things I think that you guys have even had in your newsletter that is starting to become more popular is trip insurance. So we're working, and doing some research right now on how to work with one of those companies to give people a little bit more comfort to book earlier in the cycle by taking out a very affordable trip insurance, hoping that may change people's minds. And I've been doing some research internally on our booking patterns, even over huge holiday weekends when we're typically sold out. I read the same things that you guys do, and I get most of my news about the industry from Ben and his team. And most recently, there was some articles that came out about how difficult it is to actually find a campground or a campsite at a campground. And there were studies that, or surveys that were done by these various organizations. And it was there. The most recent one was picked up by just about every major publication once they posted their survey. I mean, I read it in Forbes, I read it in USA Today, I read it in several, even Wall Street Journal, I think, picked it up. And I'm scratching my head and I'm saying, well, maybe that's true, but I think they didn't really quantify that it might have been on very busy holidays or what have you. It was just the headline was campgrounds are, 55% of the people can't find a campsite, which I don't believe is accurate. And I was, one thing was, okay, maybe that will help people to book further in advance because they would like to secure a site. But so we're looking at ways to kind of shorten that and maybe even tell a story that, hey, there are sites available. There are alternatives and, but you do need to book further in advance on holiday weekends because that's when typically most of what I would call maybe private operators like us have a huge demand. But on most given days, I can accommodate somebody, especially if they're booking 30 days in advance or more.
Okay. Well, 1 second, we got to pause to recognize our sponsor, and we will be back.
All right, great.
WCM's Park Update is being brought to you by Woodall's Campground Magazine. For over 5 decades, Woodall's Campground Magazine has aimed to provide park owners and operators with the relevant industry news they need to run their businesses more efficiently. As times have changed, so has Woodall's Campground Magazine. Besides just its print publication, which is distributed to more than 14,000 industry professionals every month, the magazine also reaches readers through its various social media platforms, including Facebook at WoodallCM, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Woodall's Campground Magazine also offers a daily e-blast which highlights the top news from the industry. The best part, everything we do is advertiser supported and free to our readers. As the outdoor hospitality industry continues to grow at a rapid pace, it is important to stay up to date on trends and other relevant news. Subscribe to Woodall's Campground Magazine at woodallscm.com. Welcome back to WCM's Park Update, and we're talking with Lloyd Lauland, president of RVC Outdoor Destinations. And hopefully I'm not murdering your last name too bad.
No, you're doing great. That's perfect.
Yeah, that's great. And we were talking, before the break, you were talking a little bit about reservations and how you've noticed more people on RVC Outdoor Destination side of things seem to be booking closer to when they want to camp, which I found kind of interesting because I know, and maybe Mike can comment a little bit too, I know on my end I hear about advanced bookings and people booking really early. I guess, Mike, what are your thoughts on that?
In my conversations with campground owners, I'm finding out that a lot of them are opening up their booking windows and even up to 2 years out now. Yeah. And that's kind of driven by demand because people want that same weekend and they want to block it in or that same holiday weekend. And so they're accommodating that. So I really haven't heard that shortened window. It could be location driven, I guess, if you've got those popular spots like that and people just are willing to take a chance on having a spot when they want to go.
Right. Our bookings are up year over year. But we tend to see that's more, we kind of categorize our customers into what we call lifestyle and extended stay customers, annual customers, things of that nature. Those bookings are way up year over year. So our lifestyle segment is growing, and they do book further in advance. It's the weekend campers that tend to be a little bit less. They don't plan more than 4 weeks out, 6 weeks out.
So we've got a lot of campgrounds out there now that are, I guess campgrounds are always for sale, but it seems like in the last few years there's been an awful lot of the smaller campgrounds, mom and pop operations, family run that are out there in the market. Uh, what does RVC look for when they're looking for a new property?
Well, if it's a greenfield property, we are looking for at least a minimum of 40 acres of land. We like to be on some type of water, if possible. So whether that's a lake or a river, that would be our preference for a greenfield type property, a minimum of 40 acres. We are building resorts in the 200 to 250 to maybe 300 site range is really what we would like to build. And we look for them in key destination areas around the country where we know that there are travelers going to that area, and that there are activities, whether it's a national park or some other area, like a draw, like a lake type situation. So we look for those types of properties when we're doing greenfield. Um,
Would you ever like build your own pond? Like if you had
yes, we do. We did that at Gulf Shores. So we're at Gulf Shores. We're about 7 miles from the Gulf, about 3 miles from the way the crow flies, but about 7 miles by car. And we built 4 lakes on the property. So a majority of our sites, all are, mostly are back end sites, about 70 feet long. People have a great backyard and a nice view with, the ponds and our fountains, etc. So yes, we do build man-made lakes when we can't find property that's right on the water. From an acquisition standpoint, you're right, Mike. There's been a lot popping up. People seem to be exiting the space because it's been a family campground for a very long period of time, and if those are very attractive to us. If the size is right and if they have the ability to expand, we would prefer to do that because typically you have less problems with zoning and permitting, et cetera, when you buy an existing place and that has the ability to be expanded.
So you're working your way north a little bit with the Sandusky Park. Are all the RVCs always going to be open all year?
Yes, as we're going to try at Sandusky as well, because one of the busiest times at Kalahari is the wintertime because of the indoor water park. And Cedar Point built a huge indoor and outdoor facility for youth sports. So there's a lot of travel teams that come in the area, and they have ice hockey in the wintertime and other indoor sports. And in the summertime, obviously, there's a lot of outdoor sports, baseball, softball, soccer, etc. So our proximity to that location, we're going to try and operate that one at least in year one, all year round, and see how we can do. With climate, with things that are happening with the climate, we actually had a very, very mild winter up in the Sandusky area this year that allowed us to continue with construction even through the wintertime. So I guess no one knows what the future holds with regards to climate change and what the weather patterns are going to be like. But things are definitely changing, and they had a relatively mild winter.
A vacation to Sandusky in the wintertime would be a trip south for the Quiggle family.
That's right.
Yeah, pretty close, a little bit south. I live just north of Toledo in Michigan, a little bit northeast, but northwest, I mean. But I guess one of the things I wanted to tackle too during this video show is the eclipse. That's something I was going to start asking guests about because it's a big deal. It's coming up. I guess I imagine some of your resorts are pretty close to the path of whatever they call it.
Looking at the map, you guys are
Yeah,
practically right up the alley.
We are really dead center. As a matter of fact, if we get Sandusky opened by April the 8th, we will have 3 resorts in the path of the eclipse.
Yeah.
So I just got back day before yesterday from our Medina location in Texas, which is, and we've been preparing for that for quite some time. And we've been getting inquiries for the last 3 years for those dates.
Wow.
Same thing with our Catherine's Landing location. I'm not sure. I can't really predict right now when we're going to be finished in Sandusky, but it'll be very nice to have 3 resorts right in the path of the eclipse.
Are you open for bookings for those dates yet, or?
No, we're not, because we're still doing planning. So we want to make it. We've been asked by several of the governmental agencies that we're working with, especially in Texas, to not have everyone check out on the same day, especially on the day of the eclipse, because they're having this is a very, very small town, and they don't really have the police force and the infrastructure. So they know that we're going to be inundated with people and guests from all over the country, and they just don't have the police force and the wherewithal to deal with it. So they're having to get help from the state. They're asking for grants so that they can pay the policemen to come in and direct traffic, et cetera. So they've asked us to make sure that, right after the eclipse, not have everybody leave. So that requires a little bit more planning. We've already purchased all of the glasses, et cetera. So we're preparing for that. But we're in the process of, doing some, I've got a graphic designer that's designing T-shirts to commemorate the event. We're going to put a package together that would include all of those things, the glasses, the T-shirt, and we've got food vendors coming to our resorts. So all of that requires a lot of planning. So
I know there was a lot of owners out there that feel like they missed the boat rate wise last time around too. Are there some rate adjustments going on for that period?
Yeah, we will treat it as a special event, just like a holiday weekend where we'll have a minimum length of stay. And of course the package pricing, once I get all of the pricing together for the T-shirt and everything, I'll be able to put a price on it. But that's why we haven't been selling, because it's kind of I'm not sure what the T-shirts are going to cost, et cetera.
So go ahead, man.
I think on the booking side, you can kind of hold off a little bit on the booking. Those people are going to book sites, no matter when you open it. But I think you're smart on the glasses side. Park owners who haven't started ordering their glasses, you get to this fall.
We ordered them 2 years ago.
Yeah, so. It's going to be amazing. And I remember 2017, and the parks were kind of surprised to some degree by all the activity, and this one's going to be even bigger. So
yeah, I had the pleasure of attending one that actually took place. I guess it was in 2000, and it was either 2013 or 2014. It actually that last eclipse happened on my birthday. Yeah. And my wife and I went to an event right outside of Georgia. Right outside of Atlanta, and had a wonderful day. So I've experienced it from the customer side, and I know what type of event it is. So I can't wait to put something like that together for us.
Yeah.
So Lloyd, you've had some great luck with expansion. You said you've been marching across the country one at a time here. Are you experiencing the labor troubles that everybody else is, just finding people to work the parks?
No, as a matter of fact, I mean, I think if you're in a desirable area, we got people that are, I get at least two or three um, inquiries and resumes a week for our locations at Pigeon Forge and at Gulf Shores. People are just, I mean, there's a lot of work campers that are out there that are being proactive and booking early, booking jobs early. We really haven't, knock on wood, I'll do this show and then all of a sudden I'll have a problem, but with staffing. But we've been blessed that we haven't really had the staffing shortages. I know that in some areas where we're operating, restaurants are still having difficulty finding people. There's a lot of hospitality companies out there that are still having difficulty finding people. But we've been blessed, and I've got a great team. And as I said, it helps to grow people from within as well.
After Sandusky opens, what's the plan? Like, are you guys?
Well, I'll let you know that we've got a very healthy pipeline, and really, really great locations. So we're looking at an opportunity in Florida right now. That's in the early planning phases. We've got 3 projects that are late in the planning phases. One we may even break ground in towards the end of this year. So one in North Carolina, one in Tennessee, and we're kicking the tires on one in Missouri the other day. So there seems to be a lot of opportunities, but those right now are the areas that we're focusing on.
Does anything give you concern about interest rates or anything like that when you're looking at the development market? Like, do you feel
Well,
that
always. I mean, we've been very blessed that we've got the capital, that we don't really have to go to the market to put any leverage on the properties in the early phases of development. So yes, we're concerned about it, obviously, because it changes everything. It even changes customers' behaviors when you've got inflationary issues and escalating costs everywhere, including interest rates. But right now we're keeping an eye on it, but it's not holding up any of our developments.
So any thoughts of introducing franchising into the mix just to accelerate growth?
No. You guys, when you were at KOA, I think you guys mastered that. I know that we like to own and operate, so I don't think that we'd ever get into franchising. We've done some third-party management in the past and have been successful with it, but we found that doing things our way and making sure that we're developing and not teaching other people how to do it and then finding yourself on the sidelines is probably a direction that we would prefer not to go. But
that's certainly a risk. So with your hotel background, any thoughts to subdividing the brand a little bit and doing some different leveling?
Well, what I'd really like to see, all of our resorts are pretty consistent. I know that KOA's got Holiday Brand and, Journey, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
What I'd really like to see is, RVC or one of the national organizations to really, really help to define things like they have in the hotel business, or the hotel industry. People know what a select service hotel is. The star system is out there for the hotel industry.
Mm-hmm.
But there are certain things that guests, we have resorts. We call ourselves resorts because we have the amenities, and it would be nice for a national organization to kind of put a guide in place that says you can't call yourself a resort unless you have these amenities at a minimum. It would be nice to see that type of standardization at RVC. There's really no need because we believe, and it's always been our mantra to provide customers with a great value and give them resort activities and amenities without really calling ourselves any luxury or anything like that. We would never, we try to shy away from using that term because we don't want to call ourselves luxury because we're in the camping world, but we do, we do a great job in developing our new properties and putting amenities in with pickleball courts and things like that people are enjoying. But the standardization, I don't think that we need to do it because I think we've already defined it ourselves as a resort. But there are others out there that call themselves a resort that some don't even have a swimming pool.
Right.
Yeah.
So it would be great. I mean, it really needs to happen at the national level in order to really, something like that to happen.
Yeah. Well, before we end the show, I guess we're around Earth Day. I wanted to point out just you guys' work with bees. You guys have a great, you call it Bee Cause.
Yes, our Bee Cause program.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. You guys have beehives at, I don't know if they're at all your locations or quite a few of your locations. And it's kind of just a neat program. People can go back and see the bees, I guess. And honeybees are important to the environment. So that's just kind of something neat you guys do. So
it is our environmental service project. We do it at every one of our resorts. We have some general managers that really get into the whole beekeeping, the whole aspect of beekeeping, right? So we've got bee suits on site and they do it all. And then in some places we hire a local person to come in and assist us. But each one of the locations has a story about how important the bees are. And there's a series of, as you move to the hive to see them in action, it tells a story about the importance of the bees. So it's an educational thing for our customers to really understand how important bees are to our lives.
Yeah. Yep. And my son beekeeped for a little while. He wants to get some more bees. I don't really like bees that much.
Yeah.
Sting you. So I try to avoid them, but they're important in the environment. So just wanted to highlight that. It's kind of a unique thing in the industry, unique way to get involved with outdoors. And a lot of parks do a lot of neat things. So keep up that good work. But it's been great talking with you, Lloyd. We're going to get going. Thanks for coming on and taking the time to talk to us and give us an update on RVC. And hopefully I can swing over and see Sandusky when it's open next year. So
yes, sir. We'd love to have you out there.
Yeah. And thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you back next week.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to WCM's Park Update, a production of Woodall's Campground Magazine. Join us for a new show each Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn for daily news and updates, and subscribe to our news feed on our website at woodallscm.com. Show hosts are Ben Quiggle and Mike Gast. Executive producers Rick Kessler and Alex Burkett. Copyright 2022, G&G Media Group.